I never thought I would be making this video. I shouldn't be making this video. Coming from a background of Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing kind of games, Monster Hunter just seems like a big monster that I didn't think would ever be my cup of tea. Sometime last year, the Switch demo dropped, and I tried it. And it plagued me with trauma facing Mizutsume alone because I kept DCing in the middle of a hunt. And it was just like way out of my comfort zone, and I had no intention of even trying right then and there. But the PC port dropped, and I had no freaking idea what I was getting myself into. I was spending the first half of my year and my month building good habits, sleeping before 12, drinking 2 liters of water a day, but everything changed when I got my Guild Cross armor and killed the Great Isuchi. Oh, it's limping! It's limping! It's limping! That's a good sign. Come here, you biz!
Now's my chance!
Oh my god. Oh my god! This is... I didn't think I'd actually do it, you know. For starters, this game is so freaking overwhelming. The controls are different, you can't button smash, you have to learn the combos. Your attacks are slow and janky, it has to be timed. You have to read so many freaking tutorials, you have to send your buddies out on mission, you have to make them trade. I don't know where to end. And there's also way too many coordination buttons I have to learn. And for some reason, it's differently wired on a Nintendo controller, like X is Y, Y is X, and then A is B, B is A. It's not the same, so I have to keep looking back and forth with what the Q is and what it is in my controller. An example I would like to illustrate this with is one of the first encounters every new gamer asks when they are in a new game. How do you heal? In most games, you heal by accessing healing items in your inventory, and inventory is usually 1 to 2 keybinds away, whether it's like the plus sign on your controller or like the escape sign on your keyboard. It's usually very easy to access it. In Monster Hunter, however, you have to press L and hold it because that opens up some sort of accessing menu on your interface on the lower right portion of your screen, and then to scroll through that mini interface you have to press X and B. So I use X and B to kind of go through and look for the potion that I want to use, and then I can release L, make sure my weapon is unsheathed. Oh, so I have to sheath it if it is, and then press X again to take the potion or take whatever item it is. I needed somebody to tell me everything else, or else I would have given up on it, honestly. But the game is so freaking beautiful. I cannot stop looking at it. Everything is so realistic and crisp, and I was actually happy I didn't get it on the Switch. I can't stop after that. I've spent 40 hours on it on the first week and a half alone. I can't remember the last time I've slept before 12. I have been staying up until 2 a.m. just killing and carving and mining and killing and carving. At some point aimlessly already, but happily doing so. So, as a tribute to my fellow newbie gamers, especially those new to the world of Monster Hunter, to put together a sort of mental preparation guide if you're playing it for the very first time in 2022. Good news! Simmers and sinners alike, there is extensive character customization at the start of this game. I made mine look like me, cause duh, it's me. So feel free to spend hours and hours on this because this is the only character you'll be making. Because after that, not only will you create your own dog, but also your own cat. Then you get to play. The main loop is simple. You kill a monster, get its parts to build your weapon and armor in order to kill a stronger monster, and get their parts to make other weapons and armors to kill even stronger monsters. But before you get to that, you need to pick a weapon. So when it comes to weapons, unfortunately, it's not like Breath of the Wild where you can get away with just smashing either the standard and or strong attack. Every weapon has a different mechanic, and some can get really technical. So I'll give an example. Since the first weapon I learned about is the longsword, it's fairly easy to understand, so I'm gonna try to explain it well. So the longsword requires you to fill a gauge by landing shots at your enemy. And once you do, you get access to certain moves that are powerful, and landing those moves gives your gauge an outer glow, sort of. And once you fill in that outer glow, you get access to like an ultra powerful move that deals a lot of damage to the monster. It's kind of like a finishing blow. And that's the loop. Keep trying to hit it until the monster dies. It's a lot of words and learning to get into, but once it clicked in my head, I was super curious about every other weapon in the game, and I eventually settled for a switch axe. And once I decided that I wanted to learn the switch axe for real, I turned into countless YouTube resources out there on how to use it and learning the moves and how to execute the moves. And like one of my favorite moves on it is this power move you get to do once you've filled out your sword gauge. And if you position and time it right, you can mount the monster and deliver a series of elemental discharge damage and then finish it off with a boom. And I feel like a badass doing it. Even though it's sure damage on my end, that's fine. I feel powerful doing it, and being able to like kind of land and learn those little things gives me so much joy. I've recently discovered the insect glaive as well. I'm learning it. It lets you have a little bit of verticality by mounting on it and using it as a pole vault, and then you're kind of up in the air. Not an expert on it yet, but I feel like it's also a lot of fun. As you get to choose a main weapon, there's a myriad of weapon trees to get into and explore. You're not done! Picking the switch axe is not enough. You have to pick what kind of switch axe do you want to play. With the switch axe, I personally found the paralysis stun playstyle very much enjoyable, which kind of gives me a chance to stun the monster and so that they don't move. So it's easier for me to hit them because, you know, I'm not really in the stage of memorizing the moves just yet. I could not match and parry the monster's moves to save my life. But just a quick note, if you're switching trees, you'll have to create the weapon from the very first part of the tree. And it takes a lot of money to do so you'll be farming quite a lot as well. Okay, now let me talk about the armor. So when it comes to the armor, there's more to it than just defense and style. Certain armors give you different buffs and abilities. There's a lot of it, but my favorites are... The first one is Evade Extender, which greatens the distance of my evade. Since I dodge roll a lot, it helps me get a lot of distance away from the monster if I feel like it's about to attack. Constitution, which helped me use less stamina. Since I do dodge roll a lot, I use a lot of stamina, and this kind of just helps me manage that whole thing. And the last one is Power Prolonger, which extends the time I'm on my amplified state, aka making the outer glow on my weapon gauge longer, stay on as long as possible. If you're playing in the PC for the very first time, there's a good starter armor called the Guild Cross Armor. To access it, you need to go to Senri, the mailman. It's the cat in the middle of the village, and look for event quests. You can scroll through the end of the list, it should be there, and it should give you a good defense boost for the very first few hunts when you're trying and learning the game. I know that definitely helped me a lot to not get easily frustrated on dying. A lot. Plus, winning the first few hunts give you some sort of really nice confidence boost and makes you a little bit more braver in playing more without the frustration of everything. Speaking of your first few hunts, there are two kinds of quests in the game. There's the village and the hub quests. Village quests must be taken alone, which is kind of the game's way of telling you that, yeah, you gotta learn it alone somehow. You start from Hunter rank 1, and then they give you some baby quests to finish. So once you've done a couple of that, an urgent quest comes up. Urgent quests are kind of like your practical tests. You have to finish them if you want to progress your Hunter rank to the next level. And when you reach the next Hunter rank, you open a new set of quests under that Hunter rank. So don't worry, if you have the Gilded Cross Armor, you should be good to go for the first few ranks. Trust me, I'm a noob. I was fine. You'll be fine. Once you've done that, you can move on to the hub quests, which are multiplayer, and I think it's pretty much where most of the game is, honestly. When it comes to combat, boy, did I just find everything so janky for the first 10 hours. Everything felt so slow and out of timing, and I kept dodging at the wrong time, and I kept swinging my axe way too far from the monster. Made me think that I might have depth perception problems. But I don't know. 20 hours later, it suddenly feels like crack. And Yeah, I blame the gilded cross armor. And there's just something so satisfying at finishing your actual first few hunts. Later, things just start to feel more natural, I guess. Yeah, and those are the basics. I know I've barely touched the tip of the iceberg, and honestly, there's so many things to say about this game that I feel like would stretch this video to hours and hours. And there's a lot of YouTube videos about starting it, but honestly, my personal recommendation is play it with a veteran. It's probably the most effective part, at least for people like me who can't be bothered to learn something as complex as Monster Hunter. I do recommend you giving it a chance. And I absolutely gave all my nights for the past few weeks and I regret nothing.
Kona main DPS, let's go.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
Leonid, is she?
Down. This is our time.
Boom!
Let's
Look at
go.
that. That's the easiest Valstrax ever, thanks to Kona's power.
Oh my god, guys. Stop.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna start
Kona.
believing I'm actually better than I am.
Congratulations, Kona.